What's up, everyone? It's your host, Jen, and we're here to spill the tea and throw some shade. Let's get into it. Well, hello, everyone. It's Jen, your co-host, and I'm so excited because we have two of my idols in marketing for medical spas and aesthetics here today. We have Harmony and Justin from the Cosmetic Lane. So I met Harmony and Justin at an injecting event. And prior to that, I had been following them immensely on Instagram with various other injectors. And they have a huge following and have worked with renowned plastic surgeons all over the world. In addition, they've also worked with other med spas in the industry in North America. And they've traveled even overseas into Europe. And they have a major following on Twitter with averaging greater than 20 million impressions. So have been extremely successful, and they have an amazing story to tell me about their business. So I'm going to hand it over to Harmony and Justin. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
So can you tell me a little bit about Cosmetic Lane and how you got started?
Yeah, I'll let you lead.
Me? Okay. I've worked in marketing for, God only knows how long now, maybe about 3-4 years. Justin was actually working in the cosmetic industry about 6 years now.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Since 2017.
So he started working plastic surgeons in Vegas, San Francisco,
Miami, Orlando, all over the West Coast pretty much.
Yeah, so he was in that industry. I was working in marketing. COVID hit. And we were just both kind of like, why aren't we doing something? So then we just kind of got together and we started Cosmetic Lane.
Cosmetic Lane. Yeah. It started on Clubhouse, which was the audio app that everybody gravitated towards in the middle of the pandemic. So we created a group that was called the Cosmetic Lane, where we were hosting weekly conversation with plastic surgeons and, nurse injectors and people within the industry. And week after week, our following kept on growing and growing. That's kind of how we built a following with the Cosmetic Lane. And it translated into the following that we have on Twitter now that's almost at, 50,000 followers. And, just based off that, we built our relationship with so many people from all over the world that needs us pretty much to help their practice, look good and be able to promote their services in the best way possible.
So what made you both decide to quit your jobs? Did you guys do it right away and then just kind of be like, fuck it, let's start Cosmetic Lane? Or was this kind of like a gradual transition?
So it was, let me tell you a funny story. So it happened when, first of all, I lost a job that I had in 2019 just by being too ambitious, because I was always working as a freelancer. And I didn't know that if I'm working with someone, then I'm not able to go get other clients. And I think that's where the conflict of interest kind of happened, because I was like, okay, well, if I'm working with this surgeons, then I need to stop working with everybody else. And I couldn't really agree with that. So I pretty much left that job. And then on her end.
Oh, yeah. I was working in a marketing agency and I was there for 3 years. And I literally got fired because I took my first vacation after 3 years. They told me that I was not committed enough to my role. So I was like, okay, well, cool, fuck it. We weren't sure what we were gonna do, but then eventually, thank God, TCL just kind of kicked off, and we were just like, let's put it together, let's put our minds together, and let's figure this out.
So did you both kind of quit / lose the job at the same time before you started TCL?
Within 4 months.
Not even 4 months. I think it was you lost it almost right before we left, and I lost it right after we left for our vacation. So within a month span.
Yeah, correct.
It was fate, literally. Yeah. And then you were like, fuck it, let's work together. How did you know you would work well together?
Oh God, I don't think we knew. No, we were both you know what you're doing, I know what I'm doing. Well, this should kind of work. So we're just like, fuck it, we're just going to figure it out. So we had no idea how we would blend us being in a relationship and us working together. We were just like, okay, well, if we can work on a relationship aspect, I guess we could work in a business aspect. And that's just kind of where we're at.
So far, so good, right?
Are you guys
married?
So
far, so bumpy. No, we're not married. We're on the road to getting married ish, close enough.
No pressure, Justin.
Yeah, no, it's never pressure on me.
Oh, I see a ring on your finger.
No.
Okay,
Oh, this is just because it's convenient.
Okay, so you're like, hint, Justin.
No, we've talked about it. We've definitely planned it. I think last year we were just so busy working. We literally spent more than half the year traveling. So I think last year it was just like work, and like try to get TCL to kick off a little. And then Christmas came, the holidays came, and then the New Year's starting. And we're like, okay, what are we doing differently this year? And what about us? Like, where are we going? What are we trying to do? So we're in the planning phase of trying to figure all that stuff out.
Oh, that's exciting. So, I mean, with TCL, you quit your jobs, you lose them, and then you're like, okay, we're going to do this together. For a lot of people, getting out of working for someone and starting their own business, it's terrifying. And it usually involves capital. So money to invest in to get your equipment started. And like, you literally don't have any clients unless you're like soliciting from like your previous employer, but we won't go there. But so like, was there fear? Like, what motivated you?
I think I already had the experience and I already knew how the industry worked. So I really never had any fear. And I think that having her by my side was like my significant other. I know her so well. I knew that it would be easy because every time that we work on a project together, planning birthdays and events, it always ended up coming great. So I knew that just putting my faith in her, the end result would be like great.
How about for you, Harmony? Were you afraid? Like, how did you feel?
No, I don't think I was afraid. Again, like he was in the industry, so I trusted that like he would guide us in the right direction, I guess. And for me, I've always been like the queen of like a side hustle. So I always had some sort of side hustle, even if I was working. So like business, on the business side, I was pretty good with that. I know accounting, that's what I used to do. So I wasn't worried. I was like, okay, even if we don't have money, we're going to figure it out. Like, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you find in this industry, like I'm familiar kind of with marketing, but I just do it as like part of running the business, not like exclusively as my business.
Right.
And do you see a lot of people that start into marketing that like fail miserably out of curiosity?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everyone wants to be in social media, an influencer. We all kind of know how to film reels and stuff like that. But how do you like, what do you think determines who's successful and who isn't in this industry?
I would say people that are able to find a niche, I think it definitely helps, right? Because if you're able to find a niche wherever you're at, I think for us, let's say we're in the cosmetic industry, but then there's biohacking that comes into play. There's regenerative medicine. There's all these other like sub niche that are within that industry. So we specialize in that. And just by having like a broad network, we know that we're able to really focus on the target market and the target audience of people that we want to be able to market to. Versus another marketing agency, they might be doing marketing for a restaurant, and next is a sneaker company, and after that, it's a trucking company. So like you're not really specializing in anything. You're just promising some results that you don't really have any case studies or like any projects to go back to because you're pretty much all over the place. So I think being niche is definitely something that I would recommend for anyone that's trying to start a social media agency or even just being an influencer, right?
Absolutely. Now, were you both always specialized in the aesthetic medicine area? Just because I know from previous work before TCL, you were also there, but like, how did you really get there? Even
that's how I am. I was like influencing on the side, and I was going to like clinics and I was getting facials. So I already knew, like I already branded myself in like that health and wellness side. So Justin was more really in the aesthetic industry.
And it happened overnight. It happened by mistakes, actually. But
it's like your forehead's moving.
Yeah,
so what the fuck's up with that?
I'm due for Botox, so you're gonna get me.
You're in the right spot.
Yeah, he's definitely due for Botox. So bad.
Yeah, my forehead.
It's okay. You look great.
Yeah. But cosmetic industry, how did it happen? I think just being surrounded with people that were really into the industry, or people that are somewhat, I guess, vain, shallow. My business partner was used to live in San Francisco, and he kind of like showed me a different perspective of how people in California think, and it kind of like rub off on me, and I kind of like understand that the cosmetic industry was about to blow because with social medias and the filters, and I kind of like picked up on it pretty quick, and I was just like, okay, well, I want to get into this niche because I feel like this is a market that's going to keep expanding and growing. And 5 years later, I still feel the same way.
Absolutely. Now, I know we talked about it before we came on the podcast about how Instagram has kind of blown up. TikTok, social media marketing is the way to go. But how are you finding the saturation in the market? Like, tell me what your experience and challenges have been.
I think my biggest pet peeve in social media is everybody trying to dance. I
am guilty of that.
I'm just so over it. I just feel like, you know what, if you have the personality, cool, go for it. But sometimes I'm like, if you're injecting me in my face, the last thing I want to see is you doing a 10-piece combo that you learned off of TikTok. Like, it just doesn't translate well in the industry. And I feel like people are just like losing like their authentic selves, and they're trying to copy, oh, this got 10 million views, let me do the same thing. That's not what it's going to get you, right? So I feel like if you can be authentic to yourself, if you're able to put yourself out there and just be yourself, you're going to get the right people to come towards you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people go that route just because they're like, I need something different or original or to capture attention. Like, I'll be honest, we had a Christmas party. Mm-hmm. And we got a lot of really negative feedback, and I like didn't read the comments because it's just like, I just don't anymore, because I know sometimes it can be negative. No, because I was wearing, I'm so embarrassed to say this, I was wearing like underwear and a thong. But I had the Santa cloak and like the hat on, and like you forget that like it's also like Christmas is like a religious time.
Right.
And you're like, my ass is hanging out. My employees see it. They're like chill because we're all like girl power, like shake what your mama gave you, like be comfortable in your body, because we do carry body services. But yeah, you try to step outside of your comfort zone and bring something original that captures engagement. And sometimes you're like, okay, like negative comments or shares, if they're like, oh my fucking God, like, did you see her dancing in her, like, she's an injector and she's a nurse and she's like so unprofessional. But you're like, that engagement, people remember you. But I'm like, maybe it's like bad, but like it was, I don't know if like bad publicity is good. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah,
honestly?
I mean, we went viral for good things and we went viral for bad things as well, right? But I think as long as our name is able to keep circulating in the digital streets, I think that's really all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. As long as you're not getting, like, I think all press is good press, to a certain degree, right? Yeah. You don't want to be out there. You were just having fun. You're being yourself, and like, sure, people are going to be upset. They're going to be angry, but somebody else that might feel comfortable walking around in their underwear, be like, I like her. Fuck that. I'm going there. So I don't think that that's necessarily bad. Sure, there's also a lot of haters. People probably don't have a good ass. That's why they're like, you know what?
I got like a flat ass, but there's no cellulite, so I'm okay so far. Hopefully it gets bigger with the pregnancy.
But you never know, you know? I don't think like that's completely negative. I think people just get like annoyed and angry, and they have a certain way to just get, like they just
and at least you got out of your comfort zone. Some people wouldn't even try. Think about it.
No,
some people
it's hard. And then sometimes they do try, and you're like, don't try. But I keep it to myself. But you know what I mean? But you're right. Like, it's a fine line, because you mentioned the dancing, when it's like, you're an injector, stick to what you know, but then like be original and be proud of who you are, but it's like,
but be authentic to yourself.
Exactly.
So like, if you were dancing, you were in your underwear, you're that's who you are, that's your personality, go for it. But if I saw you were doing it and you got 10,000 views, and I'm like, let me go put on my underwear and start dancing, that's not who I am. It doesn't translate the same way.
That's fair. Yeah. So it's more about being your authentic self. Absolutely. Have you ever seen any work that you've done backfire, where it's been posted on a client's account and they were like, oh my God, I'm getting so much negative feedback, like we totally did this wrong?
Oh yeah, actually I got one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. It was for 9/11. And I think it's like, I was trying to be like, okay, well, this is trending, this is September 11th, so let me post the 9/11 pictures. And I did like a whole graphic with like the font of just like 9/11 and what a tragedy. But it was a picture of the towers with the plane crashing. But I was just like, this is not like a picture that is supposed to be promoted, because it's a lot of trauma. There's some people, their life changed forever that day, and me, I just like made it look cool with the cool graphics, and people were just like what is this? And then after that, the post didn't actually get deleted because the surgeon was like, okay, well, at least I'm getting engagement, but it definitely got a lot of negative feedback, and I didn't feel good about it after.
Oh, do your clients ever ask for their money back when they're like, oh my God, you totally shit the bed on this one?
Nah. That never happened.
Knock on wood. No, I'm kidding. Well, let me tell you. No.
We always find a way to make it work. I think that's why we're where we at right now, is that like we always find a way to make it work.
So I have mentioned this before, but like, you know what clients you like to work with, and you know the clients you don't like to work with. Tell me about the red flags in marketing of the client you just do not want to have. Like, what's a red flag where you're like, I'm not working with you. There's no way.
I would say the clients that don't have any foundation, but also would like to micromanage. So it's like, if you don't have any foundation when it comes to marketing, you haven't made any posts, no influencer collaboration, you don't post the before and afters correctly, but you want to micromanage the post that we're about to put on your feed, but you never done anything like that before. So I feel like there's a certain boundaries that we need to put with our clients, that if you haven't done anything, you need to trust us because you hired us for a reason and we know what we're doing. So
as long as they're not like micromanaging. So even if I had like no before and afters and was like, I need you to build me up, like I'll pay for it, but I don't have anything, and I'll let you do whatever you want. Would you take that client on?
Depending on if you actually understand what marketing is, I think that that's another thing that we struggle with a lot, is people think, oh, I'm hiring you to do marketing, you're supposed to do all this stuff, and it's like, no, I don't think you understand like the scope of our work and like the scope of your work. There's certain things that you're supposed to be doing that I can't be doing for you, regardless if I'm a marketing company or not. So I think the scope of work, if somebody's just like, yeah, like marketers, they're supposed to do all this stuff, and you're like, no, not really. I think that also is a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, and also marketing doesn't equal sales, right? Like people feel that like, okay, well, I've paid you, $3,000 this month for you to post that amount of videos, and I don't feel like I got any sales from it. You know, it's a compounded effects that like after posting for like we say between like at least 6 to 9 months to actually see like real results when you work with us, right? So it's not after a month you feel that, oh, well, you guys posted like 10 videos and I don't have like $1 million aesthetic practice. Like,
it doesn't work like that. I think we say 6 to 9 months just because like we want to like establish you in the industry. We want to make sure that like you're getting talked about. There's people that are coming in that are starting to trust you, so that there's like a reliability, like there's like that trust factor that's also there. We don't want to just post a couple of pictures and a couple of videos and be like, oh yeah, here, everybody go to him. Like, it takes time.
Yeah, like, I mean, it sounds like it needs to be consistency. And I've heard that very often with any form of marketing, that you need to like give whoever you're working with in marketing a chance. Now, for those that are new in small business, sometimes they're shocked by the price that you have to pay for marketing. You probably see that a lot when you do a consult with like your clients. Can you give our followers an idea for what packages might look like for pricing? I mean, it's different because you work with more top tier clients personally. So it's going to be very different than someone who's just starting out new injector. But I mean, why don't we do a range? So like if you're a brand new injector and you don't have a clue about like posting on Instagram and stuff, what should they be investing financially into, like a percentage of what they make or whatever? And then also tell me about really established clinics and what they can expect to invest or they should be for this type of marketing.
Oh, that's tough.
It's a really long question I just asked you, so feel free to start wherever you like.
So I would say for spot, because I tell Harmony all the time, like we don't like to work with like random clients, so people are just going to send us an email and we don't have an established relationship. So I tell them like, what is the price of a 1-bedroom in downtown Toronto?
I don't even know.
Well,
I never moved to Toronto for that reason.
Well, that will be the minimum price that like we charge.
Yeah.
Right. That's my rule of thumb. It doesn't
so like
matter.
Be homeless and go with TCL.
I think it depends. Like we've worked with big budgets and we work with small budgets. I think that what we try to do is like, we see first of all, we see if it actually makes sense for you to hire us, because there are certain people, like if you're just starting out, we could give you a consultation. We could like give you some tips, and you could pay for our time in that sense, and we could help you so that you can try to grow yourself. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense for you to invest in marketing, right? Like if you're just starting out, you probably can't afford it because it's between paying for product or paying for marketing. You're not going to be able to choose, right?
That's fair.
So we do offer consultations, but like if you do want to work with us, then obviously there's a price tag with it.
Yeah, there is.
Absolutely. And I think there's something to be said. When you're a small business owner, you really do need to wear all hats in order to be successful, understand all aspects of your business, and then appreciate those that are taking on roles for you in your company. And it makes a better relationship and more clear direction that you can provide to anyone you contract out or employ in your company. So
Because if we come in and we're freeing up 10 hours for you that you would spend every night posting, engaging, or creating content, that's 10 hours that you now have to inject. So how much money could you make in those 10 hours injecting that you don't have to do anymore? So I guess you could look at it like that, right?
absolutely. Yeah, no, I always look at it that way. And I'm like, if I could make more money financially working than marketing and working as in injecting and servicing our clients, I'm better at that. Like I like to think I'm good at marketing, but it's not my priority, but it does link to our business. So yeah, that's why I look at value that way. And I think that's why your clients understand that. They see that and they're like, okay, you handle that. I'll do what I do best.
Right.
Because for me, honestly, I've reduced my hours. Like I used to work 6, sometimes 7 days a week when I was first starting out, but now I've reined down to 3 days a week of service, but the other 3 days are still working. They're just on different aspects of the company.
That makes sense.
But like it makes sense for you right now, right? But if you were to hire somebody that could come in and free up those 3 days, would you go back to injecting?
I feel like I would, but you know what it is? For me, it's different because I have staff, and I'm sure you guys see this as well. You have to oversee and make sure the company runs smoothly and things are standardized. So it might not be the marketing, it might be other things. And I cannot be available when I am full-time injecting. I literally don't check my phone for like 12 hours. And like, I literally just missed a call right now from one of our staff that probably needs me. I'm sorry, I'm not answering the phone. But I'm like, call somebody else. So, but yeah, so I think it frees me up to just be more open to what's going on in our business. Because sometimes when you're so focused on injecting and only doing that, you neglect other roles in the company, and giving that time to step back and see what you need is better. Like all the planning is huge.
Yes,
What's going on in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So can I ask you guys what's like the hardest project you've ever had to take on? That's a loaded one.
Hardest project that we ever had to take on.
You can be anonymous with the client if you want, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think as well.
I feel like
I think most of the projects that we actually do, we actually enjoy it. So I don't even think that we have like any hard task that we just be like, oh, we have to push through to finish this project. We actually enjoy the whole process.
well, that's one thing. Like again, because like we literally eat, sleep, and breathe.
The aesthetic industry.
Anything aesthetics.
Yeah.
So like we're up, like we could spend our Friday nights literally working, and we're having the best time because we actually enjoy it. So I mean, I don't think that there's any project that we've ever taken on where we're like, oh, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, because we actually enjoy it.
I'm trying to think because I know there's probably like,
Something, or like a
there's
job
probably
you've
something.
declined that you like felt like was just way different than what services you offer.
I don't think we decline. I think we're gonna still send a proposal, but we're gonna give you a price that you know you're not gonna want to move forward with. And if you do, then I'll just be like,
we'll
okay,
power
well,
through.
we'll power through.
I've had that before. I'm like, yeah, for a customized bookshelf in my house, they were like, oh, it's like 10,000. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I was like, they probably just don't want us as a client. That's usually what it comes down to.
Yeah,
We've
that's-
definitely
Good
done that.
trick.
Yeah, no, that's the best way to push
Yeah.
away people. Just be like, okay, you would
Literally,
like a
just
proposal?
like triple the price. Okay, now I know if like you guys do that to me.
No, you're good.
We
You're
like
good.
you, so it happened. But like, I think, yeah, like sometimes we've evaluated their business and we're just like, you know what, this isn't working. Like, I don't think they're going to be a good fit. But it's hard to say no. How do you tell somebody no? Because then you also, like, they're going to turn around and talk shit. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, like, this person didn't want to work with us because they think this, they think that. So you're like, oh, here's a price that's double what I would typically charge, right? At least this way you're not the bad guy.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. That's a good strategy in any business, actually. So like, okay, so for someone who doesn't have the funds to do their, like to bring on TCL, let's say, what are some like do-it-yourself like marketing tips you might have that maybe beginners don't know?
Okay. I think I think that a lot of people also just miss out on the fact that they need to be consistent. And that doesn't mean just posting, but engaging with your audience, leaving even just comments. Like, when's the last time you scrolled through Instagram and actually left a comment on someone's picture?
That's a good point. I actually haven't done that in a while.
Right?
But you're right, you should. But should you be engaging with people that already follow you or engaging with people that don't?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, just spend 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Do you know how many comments you could write in 5 minutes?
That's true. Does Instagram lock you out after a certain amount of time?
Oh, yeah. If you're sending 100 comments in a minute, there's a problem.
Okay. There used to be those apps that would do that. And like low key, I tried it once and like then they almost suspended my account. So I was like, oh my God, I can't do that. I've worked too hard to like build a following.
It's not worth it. But yeah, I think consistency and engagement is so huge. And so many people overlook that. If you're not engaging with anybody's posts, why do you think that they would come and engage with yours?
That's fair. Yeah. Unless you have valuable content that they want to know. Because honestly, like even on our Monaco Instagram, like we have a lot more followers than we do follow. I noticed that other accounts, we don't do it purposely. We just have it there and people can follow and see our work. But I noticed other people accounts, maybe like influencers, they purposely like make sure their following is, they follow less people than follow them. But is that like, make them look better, or is there like some strategy list? Do you know what that means? Like why people?
I think it just it's like more so like now you're popular. Like, oh my God, 20,000 people followed her, and she's only like her cool clique of 100 people are only like she's only following 100, but so many people want to be around her.
But we're also doing that.
You're like, we want to look cool too.
Not on Instagram, but on Twitter. Like we have like 40,000 followers, but we only follow 520 people. And
I
we
love
know
that you remember 520.
Yeah,
people.
no, but out of the 520, we know that if we go to our following, it's like everybody like means something. It's like very valuable people that.
But we only follow people that like we're not only following big accounts. We're following people that like engage with our stuff a lot. People that we have some sort of a relationship with. Just because you follow me, I'm not going to follow you.
Yeah, that's correct.
I've gone and unfollowed a couple people you follow just because of that.
Oh, okay.
Don't have beef.
So has Justin ever followed like someone that you didn't want him to follow, like someone who was like a supermodel or something?
Oh Lord, here you go.
I'm curious, like relationship side. Let's go that way. Working together in an aesthetic industry, there's hot women that are done, but like quote unquote natural, you know. So what's it like working together and Justin being around women all the time?
That's a great question for her.
How much time do we have?
Because you're not like, I don't get a jealous vibe from you.
Oh,
we hit it off really well. Yeah.
I'm like literally the definition jealous. Like
really? The first time I met you guys, I was talking to you guys and I was so excited to like tell you everything. And I'm like, listen, but I think I grabbed Justin's thigh, but like didn't even mean to.
It was on purpose. It was my knee.
I know it was like your knee, but it was like, I was like, oh my God, I just did that in front of Harmony, and like she's gonna punch me in the face, and I deserved it. And like if some bitch like did that down, I'd be like all in her face, and then I'd give him shit after, even though it wasn't even his fault.
Now,
I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
Don't worry. I don't think it's ever been like that. I think there is like, it's hard, right? Like you work in this industry, everybody looks a certain way and you're like, oh my God, I don't look like that. And then there's like obviously that temptation or like that insecurity that starts to develop when you are in that industry. So yeah, I'm sure we've definitely had our moments. Yeah. But like, and I don't even care. I'm like, honestly, whatever. Like at the end of the day, if you bring somebody in, like it's still money in my pockets. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that a lot of times women will like, let's say we follow, like we went somewhere and like they won't follow the Cosmetic Lane. They'll just go follow Justin. And I'm like,
oh, so Justin has a personal Instagram.
I mean, of course.
Oh, and my husband doesn't, but I guess he's just not as Instagram savvy. But I'm like, thank God you don't, because I feel like there would be like blood.
Oh, like Justin is like way more active on social than I am. Yeah. So it's just like sometimes like I've noticed that, and I'm always like, hey, like I'm always like, one thing that we need to be careful of is I'm like, just remember that like everybody's not our friend, or people aren't coming and like messaging us for certain things because like they genuinely are our friends, right? Like if you were to reach out and you were like, hey, I'm having trouble with this, can you help me out? Like that's different than a random person just following Justin and being like,
and messaging
hey.
him on his personal. Yeah,
Exactly.
I feel like there's like an appropriateness to it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like with us, like I deal mostly with women, like even suppliers and stuff. It's all mostly female. You get the odd male, but sometimes you get that guy that comes in and you get that vibe that he's like kind of creepy. Yeah, not like, creepy, but like like hitting on you.
Yeah,
like if your husband wasn't there, he'd be a little bit more friendly.
Yeah, or like the hun or the love, and like that's.
But sometimes they're just like feminine. So then you're like, you don't get threatened by them being like, hey, like I want to like sleep with you.
I think one thing is like at least like you're professional in the sense that you're not calling everybody love or babe or hun,
right?
Which kind of blurs the line a little.
Absolutely. Like Owen did that once to a lady and she was like 70 and I was so jealous. I was like, why did you? He's like, no problem, love. I'll talk to you later, hun. And I was just like, why are you using terms of endearment with her?
Wow.
Like I know she's like 70 and looks like a a melted candle, but like like I know.
But that's probably why it was
like,
probably trying to be kind to her because he probably doesn't
don't
get.
Call another woman hun or babe or
you
love.
can't like do that. It's just like so inappropriate, Justin. Like get out.
I have to go for the guys.
That's so funny. So Harmony, you have your own personal Instagram.
Yeah.
And Justin does. Do you find that's like okay for both of you? Like you don't feel any conflicts that way, and like who likes whose picture and whatnot?
I'm
totally like
not really. I think we're trying to. First of all, we're in therapy right now, which is great.
Awesome.
But we're trying to establish the different type of like boundaries to make sure that nothing goes like.
I mean, I can admit it. I'm definitely hold on. My headphones are dropping off. I am definitely a little bit more on the jealous side. I do have my insecurities. You're doing a great job at helping me get through that, but I think I do have that. It's hard. Like if you're surrounded by beautiful women all the time, like it's hard to be like, what's stopping you from being interested in that person, right? Like
absolutely, it's like why are you with me when you could be with like 10 women at once?
Literally.
Like
this is crazy.
That's a good question because Owen would be like, can I have like 10 women, but you be one of them? Like that's it. But he's like, I just laugh about it, but like I'm just so busy with work that I'm like, whatever. Like
right.
I have your children, like, but still, like, oh my god, I get crazy jealous. But okay, so what would be like your biggest insecurity, Harmony? Like, what makes you insecure? For me, I think Owen has yellow fever, so I think any Asian woman that goes near her, I'm like, back the fuck off. But like, if it's anyone else, he's like, it could be like a hot supermodel that's a white blonde, you won't care. But if it's an Asian with a flat ass who looks fobby, it's like you don't like her at all. And I was like, it's true. I don't know why. But what's your insecurity?
I don't know. I don't know. What would be like my pinpoint insecurity? I think it's just like when we're surrounded by so many beautiful women, it's hard to be like, why wouldn't you be interested in that? Right?
Well, why wouldn't you, Justin?
Yeah, why wouldn't you be, Justin?
People ask me that question all the time, and I actually got the answer because I think for me as like I said in a man, and when I was in the industry before she got in the industry, right? So I'm familiar with it, like I'm used to it. But I think the power for me as a man is just like I just realized that everything just goes like smoother when you're around like beautiful people, when like people are looking good. So for me, the power is just to be around like a whole bunch of people that are looking good. And I know that like I won't have to worry about anything, and like life will just like, that's kind of like an, how can I say that? Like the pretty privilege thing.
Yeah. But then how do you not act on that? Like if you're like around.
Yeah. Like
right?
perfect people that look good. Like,
I don't know. I think I'm just okay with it. I'm just okay by being around a whole bunch of other people. If I bring some of my friends, I would like to just like join the industry, or just like, oh well, I have an event. If you want to meet like some pretty women, come through. Then I get to have other men that get to enjoy themselves and meet like a whole bunch of women. But for me, like I like where I'm at in life, and I'm actually excited about like the future that I have like with Harmony. So like I don't think that I would mess that up, especially like with all the things that we have going
man.
on.
Honestly, it's like the grass isn't greener on the other side.
Yeah, there you go.
It's greener where you water it. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that. So that's really important. So What about you, Justin? Do you have any insecurities like with Harmony? And I know like there's mostly women.
She likes Morris Chestnut.
Oh.
What did we say?
Morris Chestnut. Do you know who Morris?
No, I like live in a bubble, so explain who he
He's
is.
just like an older black man that's like bald and he's like super,
like the Denzel Washington kind of vibe.
Yeah, ish, but like just like he has like a lot of like charisma and stuff.
But you'll like be older in like 30 years.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
like,
I know,
yeah.
but like I would say like, and I wouldn't even say that it's insecurity, but I know like the type of like man that she gravitates towards. So sometimes it's like, well, I'm gonna go bald too, and like you're gonna like me more.
Please do
Are you worried about her with like the like successful plastic surgeon that you guys meet that's like charismatic and like in a suit? And, like,
Nah, because I don't. That's not. She wouldn't go for that.
No. Okay.
If it's not Morris Chestnut, you're not worried.
Yeah, no.
As long as it's not more shiny. Well, that helps. It's like a really significant elimination of most men. So like everybody except you and Morris Chestnut.
I know.
That's awesome. So what's Justin's type then? What do you think it is, Harmony?
I don't know. I like, at first I was like, I think like that like bimbo look. I was like, oh, Justin's totally all about the bimbo look.
Like tits and ass?
Yeah,
and, like,
it was
big
like
lips?
Yeah, I was like tiny waist, tits, ass, and like
Me
so
personally-
unrealistic unless
Yeah.
you've had like plastic surgery.
exactly.
Okay, okay.
I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah.
I like tattoos. That's the only thing with me. I just like tattoos. So that's.
You have tattoos?
I have none.
Okay, so you want Harmony to get a tattoo?
Yeah, she.
Oh,
for
he's
sure
been
gonna
on
get
my
it.
ass about getting a tattoo so much. Yeah.
And how do you feel about tattoos, Harmony?
I'm about it. I'm like, I feel like if I start one, I'm like, I said I would do like one whole sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I would do, and that's it.
And you're one of the few people I know that doesn't have a tattoo.
Nothing.
In fact, I don't have tattoos either.
Really?
Yeah, no, surprisingly. I just haven't like really made up my mind on what I want. So I'm just like, no, it's fine. I'll just spend my money on like more clothes and shit. Like, I just go shop for something.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't found anything that I love or want to commit enough to see every day on my body.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a little bit more about your relationship. You mentioned that you guys are in therapy.
Yes.
So I think honestly, therapy is so great. Like I've done it with Owen before, but we haven't been consistent. But and I think every couple struggles with communication, so it's always great there. But like, what was your reason? Like, may I ask, like, why you guys go to therapy and how it's helped your relationship?
I think we spend so much time together, so it's just like the lines are blurred between the relationship and the work, and just like the average life, social life. Everything is kind of like in one.
Yeah.
And I don't think that like we had the right way for us to communicate with each other. We needed like different systems.
Yeah.
And now we definitely have at least like one or two different Dearman.
Yeah,
One of
Dearman's one.
Dearman is one, and we have like maybe like another system for us to communicate better. And then we establish certain boundaries as far as the amount of time we spend together, work out of different workspace,
Yeah.
might go to WeWork, she might stay at home, etc., etc. So yeah,
It's just, yeah, I think it was like I said last year, we were traveling so much together. And
It
when
was
you're traveling,
crazy.
limited funds, like you're literally day in and day out in the same space, like with the same person, working together, doing everything together. So it just kind of got overwhelming and exhausting. And like we lost that like romance and fun in our relationship. And like we just didn't know what we were doing, and we're both like kind of at a point where we're like, okay, are we done? Like, are we over? Are we gonna like, what are we doing? So then we're like, okay, let's at least figure out therapy, because like obviously we wanted to make it work. So we're like, how do we like go into therapy, and how do we build a system that's gonna work for us in the long term? We want to have kids. We want to get married. We want to do all these things. Like we want to be good.
Absolutely. Like how, like, I guess I could take some advice from you because my husband and I work together. Like, how do you separate the two? It's really hard to.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
so
it
like,
is.
what do you find works for, relationship and business? How do you allocate that time together?
I think we've been trying to do like different date nights, but then date night doesn't include anything work related, because it's so easy. Like we're literally watched the Super Bowl last night, and he's working and I'm working. Like we're not,
Yeah.
like it's so hard. So I think like carving out a little bit of time where it's just you guys and not anything work related, that makes a huge difference.
yeah, absolutely.
When's the last time you guys traveled non-work related? Like just to like do a getaway together?
That was literally the vacation I got fired on.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
And then TCL started. You just went back into business. You know what? You guys are so successful because you're such hustlers. Like if you didn't have that drive, like it wouldn't be what it is
Yeah,
today.
for sure.
right?
Wouldn't-
But
wouldn't.
yeah, 3 years ago. I think
3
that was
years
our
ago. Yeah, that was the only like non-work related vacation. that we had.
literally. But you know what though? What we do is like, let's say we travel to Southern California a lot. So what we do is we're out there for a week. We try to be like, okay, Thursday, let's go to the beach. And then we'll go and we'll spend time at the beach. Or we'll carve out a little time for just us to do something fun for us. We like to go to concerts a lot out there. Oh my God, we go to so many concerts.
Yeah, we like going to concerts.
So like we do like little things for us out there. So it's
Meanwhile,
still
you're
fun.
at the concert and you're like, I could be filming from this angle and capturing this content behind the scenes. Do you think they'll let me backstage? Here's my card. It's like hard. The hustle never stops, does it?
Yeah.
That's like me, like looking at people's faces when I'm on vacation.
Oh,
and then
can.
like they ask me to take a selfie, and I'm like, let me take all your best angles. I was like, your platysma mans need to be treated with discord. But yeah, no, the hustle never stops.
No, it doesn't.
right?
And I think that again, like that contributes to like being successful. Like that's why you're successful, is because your mind is constantly going.
Have you guys had like your I made it moment yet? Like individually or together? Like if you're like, fuck yeah, like we at the top. Like
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
got a few of those
Yeah.
actually.
What's yours?
I think last year, no, it was 2021 when Cardi B interacted with us on Twitter.
Oh my God.
Like not once, but like I think like 3 times. Like we were going back and forth. I was just like, yo, this is insane. And,
Cardi
like,
B, it
yeah.
wasn't even like her agent or
No,
something.
no,
it was
no,
like
it wasn't.
Cardi B.
Yeah.
on Instagram?
No,
No,
on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, on Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was
That's-
like, do you have
yeah.
her cell? We should call in and like have her be like, oh my God, I actually know who you are and I don't know anyone in pop culture.
Yeah, no, I think that was like
that was a really big
one.
moment.
And, I think Dr. Emmer was also a pretty big
Oh yeah,
one.
Dr. Emmer's huge.
He's so good. I
Yeah.
actually tried to see if we could do something on our website similar to Jason Emmers.
Mm-hmm.
He's for anyone tuning in or not sure who he is, he's just a very famous like plastic surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a dermatologist.
Oh, is he a dermatologist? Oh, shit. Okay, so like very famous in the aesthetic practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm, yes.
So, and his technology and the way he markets himself is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
Insane.
insane.
Like his website's insane, the typographics, and it's all his original content. It's not like stock imagery or anything like that.
His
we-
office is like
Oh my God, it looks like
incredible.
it's like very futuristic. And I think that was definitely a we made it moment early on where
Early on.
he followed us on Twitter and he was going back and forth with a lot of our content. And then we're like, hey, we're going to be in LA. He's like, yeah, come by, let's shoot. We went to his office, we shot with him. So that was really cool.
We got an affiliate marketing program with him as well. We were
Yeah.
selling some of his products, skincare products for a little
That
while.
was fun. I think my biggest moment was like literally being in Europe, traveling to Europe for work. Literally sitting in Julie Horn's office, getting my lips done with her and the doctor we went down to Europe with. Like that was huge. I love the doctor that we traveled with, Dr. Holden. We do a lot with her.
Yeah, shout
So
out Dr. Holden.
her and like Julie Horn both working on my lips, and I'm literally like, I can't believe like this is my life right now.
So tell me, it's funny because you mentioned that you also wanted to discuss biohacking.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
speaking of health and wellness.
Yes.
I was like hacking, and I was like searching. I was like hacking a computer. Like what the fuck is it? Like I was like, oh my God, I've never heard of like biohacking. So what is biohacking?
It's huge now,
It's
especially.
huge now. I mean, we fresh out of a biohacking session this morning. Actually, she got her hair cells taken off, and she's froze her cells. So it's kind of like a health insurance on your own cells. So she banked. We both did. I did
Yeah.
it like on Friday. So we pretty much banked our cells for the future. So let's say within the next like 5 years, if I get into like a knee injury, then they're gonna be able to heal myself with the
They're
cells.
going to be able
that
to
they have. So-
re-inject his cells that were from now into his knee.
And
they're-
regenerative medicine,
Yeah,
like you mentioned.
pretty much.
Exactly, yeah. So like imagine, not even that, like let's say you were to do it at 25 and then at 40, like God forbid, like you hurt your knee. Imagine getting cells put back in your own cells, but 25-year-old cells instead of a 40-year-old cell, which might be a little bit slower, might not work as if So there's so many cool benefits that come from it. And we actually just froze ours.
Yeah,
So
we
we'll
froze
see.
ours.
That's awesome. Where do you do this at? Like, where do you go to like?
Acorn Biolabs, but they have also a few clinics that are like offering that service now because it's just starting in Canada.
Yeah.
But we went straight to the source.
Yeah, he went straight to the lab, but
Yeah,
they
we
do
went
do it
straight
in
to the lab, yeah.
and they're actually going to be starting. They're focusing on the aesthetic side. So you know how you do like PRP and like
Right.
you have the cells, right? Now think
From
about
the
it.
blood cells.
Exactly, but it's only blood cells. Now imagine re-injecting some of those cells that they had frozen into their face. So now they're getting the cells that like your body
skin
actually
cells,
needs.
the brain cells.
But you can
and-
get all of that from a hair
follicle.
Yeah, the hair follicle. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's so cool. And then I've heard about it. It's funny. I was talking to a physician yesterday, just like a good friend of mine, and he was telling me a little bit about it, but he didn't use the term biohacking, but that's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
There's other things that I do, like hormone replacement therapy is pretty good. Like I
Huge.
start like
Okay.
doing like testosterone cycle just to make sure that like, you know, muscle mass stays in and I'm able to just like stay active in the gym and just have more I guess like more energy just like as you age. Your testosterone.
Bioidentical. So you're using the testosterone.
Yeah.
Now, are you using testosterone, Harmony?
No, but I need to.
I have to ask you, Justin, how is your sex drive? Okay, rewind back a couple of years ago, I took a course, and the main thing I retained is that testosterone makes you horny.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah,
just saying, they say it's better for couples to be on it together, because if one's horny and the other one's not, it's like there's like that conflict in in the sex like aspect, which is really important, I think, for all couples,
definitely.
right?
She's on something else, but me, it definitely increased my sex drive. Significantly.
You're like, absolutely. Hey, it's not a bad thing. It's healthy, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%,
No. No. I actually just got like libido pills.
Yeah, but like, it has the testosterone that Justin has ever, like, have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried it, but it's because I'm not sure of my dosage. So
That's
like
fair.
I don't want to be injecting a bunch of testosterone that I don't need. So I think that for me, there's actually a safe way to do it is where there's hormone replacement therapy. You can go to these doctors. You can get your blood withdrawn, and then they're able to manage, like, check out all of your hormone levels, and then tell you exactly what you need.
You're talking about BioT with the pellet? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how are you applying the testosterone? Is it topical or you?
Nah, it's
What?
nah, I'm doing straight syringe.
Okay. And what made you decide on the specific method? Like,
I mean, I guess that's what was introduced to me. So
okay,
like,
by the physician. Mm-hmm. Okay. And have you noticed benefits in your skin? Your skin looks great, by the way.
oh,
but
thank you.
this is
I'm
like
gonna get
curious.
Botox after we get out of here.
Yeah, I know, like, no offense. No, kidding, but okay.
No, I don't feel that I've noticed any changes like in my skin per
have.
se. You did?
I have.
You do?
Yeah, your face just
I think
feels
I'm just
more,
healthier overall now. I think I'm drinking more water, so maybe like it has like.
you just kind of look a little bit more rejuvenated.
Okay.
Like
Energy
healthier.
levels.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure your doctor has mentioned this, and this was something like I wanted Owen to go on testosterone years ago, and he's also 25 years older than me. So, like, it also through energy too and everything. And the reason he didn't was because we wanted more kids. So for us, it was like testosterone can lower your sperm count. So anyone who is taking it, if you are wanting to, I don't know how long you have to be off of it for, but that was the one thing. So I'm like, hell no. Like, now that I'm pregnant with a third, like, go on testosterone. Yeah. So it's one of those things. But is there like a withdrawal phase if you were to stop testosterone?
No, I
would you have
think
to
it's
wean?
no. It's not like steroids because testosterone is like initially like in your body, but
Right.
like no, I don't have any like low phase. I think on steroids there is, but with me, I haven't had any down phase with or side effects with testosterone.
Okay. That's really cool though. Yeah. And then are you on any estrogen, Harmony? I don't know if these are like
I'm
super
not.
personal, but like,
no,
yeah.
I don't
just
care.
like-
No, I'm not. He's been on me about it, so I definitely need to get. I need to
Yeah.
get checked out. I need to, like, for me, I'm just like, I'm not gonna just go and like randomly just get on it. I would like to go through the proper.
yeah. And you both
channels.
are really young, healthy individuals. So it's like, it's hard because as much as I think like hormone balancing is great, it's also like, do you ever think you're just working too much? And they're like tired and you feel like shit because you work too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I
I
agree.
think so, but then I'm also like, I had energy at 25 and I was fucking clubbing.
Yeah.
Even like at 30, I was like partying until 5 a.m. and then going straight to work.
So how long have you been on it, Justin?
Testosterone, like on and off, I would say since for about like a year and a half.
And what sparked you to be like, hey, I need to like seek other wellness options for myself? Like, what were the symptoms?
I don't think depression. I would say depression, and I think someone just recommended to me. Was just like, you should try it. I think it would be good. So I started going to the doctor, get my blood tested to see what was lacking, and then after that, I kind of like changed my life around. I guess like this being in this industry, I think it makes you change your lifestyle as well. Because like now, it's not really my job. Like I have to embody the cosmetic industry. So taking care of my skin, taking care of my body, and doing like all these other things, I think it's definitely it changed me to a certain extent.
Absolutely. Like, one thing that has really changed for me, and maybe I was like this before, but I think a lot of women, especially, and I don't want to sound insensitive, but, having to be a role model to other women, especially your staff and to your clients that, like empower, like feel your best, look your best, like be confident.
Yeah.
So like I've realized that social media, like, yeah, you have all these tools to make yourself look good and you got to look the part. But part of me is like, you know what? Sometimes you want to be like real. I'm like, I don't want to have it consume me what I look like. Like, yeah, I have a pimple, or yeah, I got blackheads and my face is dry. I got a sesame seed on my lip. I'm like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I had a sesame seed on my lip and Harmony let me know, but it's fine. But like, I feel like we get consumed with like how we look. And then, I've had friends where I've posted images and they're like, oh my God, take that down. It looks so bad. And like, honestly, like for me, I don't want to be that person that feels so upset with what other people would, look at me for. Right. I think it comes down to our own insecurity, but
that's where we kind of differ a little bit.
Yeah.
Justin's very like, we're in the aesthetic industry, we have to look the part. And to me, I'm like, sure, like I don't look exactly like the girls that are in the industry, but I belong in any room that I'm in. Like I'm comfortable with myself. Fine, sure, I could go to the gym, I could do all this stuff, but like no one's gonna come up to me and be like, well, you shouldn't be here. Like I'm entitled to be in that room just as much as anybody else. So like I'm comfortable with that. Of course, I'm still making changes. I'm doing certain things, but I don't have that issue where I'm like, oh no, like I can't do that. I can't be this. I can't look like that. So to me, it's a little bit different. But like Justin's very like, no, we're in the industry. We gotta look away. We gotta.
Yeah, for me, it's just
absolutely. And I think it's a little bit of both. Like your image is everything because you are in the aesthetic industry. And then let's face it, like clinical studies have shown that like people that are more attractive are the ones that get the jobs or that get hired, and like they're the ones that get liked more. Well, so it's like hard because who doesn't want to look good, right? But at the same time, I think maybe for a service provider perspective, I'm like, you day in and day out see people in their insecurities with no makeup, like literally venting to you about what they're unhappy with in their face. And then what you realize is like, I don't see that line on your face that you are so upset about. And you're like an 11 out of 10 gorgeous woman. And I was like, I don't know why you don't see that beauty in yourself, or maybe you don't see it as well, or you're so hard on yourself. And I'm just like, man, like I can't be that person if I'm going to help these women. I
get that.
So for me, I'm like, okay, like, it just goes to show me that we are our worst critics, like literally our worst critics.
Yes.
Like no one will notice that pimple on your face unless you point it out or something like that. And I think that sometimes our faces or our bodies like consume us with what we're unhappy with.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I like care less about how I look on like social media. My fear is like sounding stupid. Or the content I'm giving is like stupid. That's my insecurity. But it must be hard, right? For like, being there and trying to be a little bit of both.
Well, because it's hard. Like
we balance each other out pretty well, I think.
Sounds like it.
Because like you are right. Like you do have to look a certain way because no one's going to trust you being in the industry if you don't look a certain way as well, right?
That's true.
Because like, would you go to an overweight personal trainer?
No,
because you'd be like,
you wouldn't take their advice.
Exactly.
Like,
you'd be like, well, how are you not taking your own advice, right? So I think like it's like a fine line, right? Like you do have to make sure that you do play the part, but you have the education and like the mindset to the mindset, the knowledge to back it up.
Absolutely. So, I mean, where do you think with this whole social media thing is going to be in like 5 years? You've got Instagram, you've got TikTok. Like, what's the future look like that you think?
I personally think we're going to move towards more community-based apps per se. I think just by interest, I think that like at one point Instagram is going to come out with a tab that like if you're into, let's say, like plastic surgery or like non-invasive treatment, then you click on it and you might be able to see, oh, these are like the people that are in this group of like non-invasive treatment, and you're going to be able to see who interacted with the most posts, who left the most comments. I think that like my life is kind of like divided by interests. I have like my fitness friends, I have my cannabis friends, I have like my couple friends, because you're hanging with other couples. I think social media is gonna go this way.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think so.
Like I've already started to see it because they have those topics now when you post it on
Yes,
Reels. So you
here
think
you
it's going to
go.
be like that. They don't have an injectable. They have like face care products. So I've been like putting my stuff in there. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but
It's gonna
be
come.
more. Do you think like Clubhouse and all that is still going to like grow, or is that kind of like on the
I
back
think a
burner?
concept like Clubhouse might come out. I think that Clubhouse was popular because obviously the times we were in, we were all stuck inside, so you had no social interaction. So it's hard to get people to go back on that when you could be outside freely.
Exactly.
But I do think that we'll get a
Yeah, we're
variation
gonna
of
get
that.
something similar. Yes.
do you think TikTok is going to continue to grow? Like, or do you think it's going to die out kind of like,
I've heard they banned it in Texas.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's already
serious?
slowly. I think so. I think
why?
I think it
know-
was about the elections or something.
no.
They had some,
They said that it was what was it, like the government officials couldn't have it on their phone anymore.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So yeah, so like I think we're gonna start to see things like that. I do think that it will eventually reach a peak because aren't you overstimulated on there?
I am overstimulated on all of it, to be honest, which is probably why I don't comment as much as I should. You know, sometimes it's
Not
like,
engaging.
right? I'm not engaging. I'm literally posting and being like, okay, I like did my job today, and then I'll
Yeah.
like turn it off, and that's
Right.
it, right?
So I feel like I'm sure that we're gonna get to a point where it is gonna come down a bit more, just because like people are tired. Like, how many videos do you want to see? How many songs do you want to see? Hear the same song over and over again. I think we're gonna get to a point where we are gonna be overstimulated, and it will kind of drop down a little bit. One thing that we've noticed is like Twitter. Twitter's been staying. It
Yeah,
stayed
Twitter.
through.
it's staying consistent.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
staying
it's just
consistent.
growing. It's fun because you know what? It's a lot less. There is strategy on there for sure, but you don't have to think about your content as much. You're able to just post. You're able to be yourself, and like that ties into the community aspect. Is you're able to like relate more to somebody. Somebody can easily reach out to you instead of having to go through the hoops of go to my website, DM me. They're able to just respond to your tweets, and like you're able to build better relationships on there.
Just because of words, I think people relate to words more than actual pictures, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because on Instagram, I've noticed people don't read the captions as well. Like,
Yeah,
not as
no,
well.
they don't.
Yeah. I gave a giveaway a couple days ago, and like nobody applied for it.
Stop.
It was
Let me
literally
just
like
go
a
apply
glow
right
up.
now.
Okay, yeah. I was like, literally, it was like whoever's like in need of a glow up. Like, it was a monoconfidence thing that we're doing every
remember
3
this.
months. But yeah, no, people watched the reel, but then they didn't like. And I was like, it's interesting. I was like, I spend so much time on these captions that don't even get much engagement.
And because you have the option of video and caption.
Which is video.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do that, do static post, or all the content, the important information should be in your video. So whoever doesn't want to read the caption, like the information's still there.
Okay, that's good to know. You learn it as you go. What do you think is getting the highest engagement for med spa industry right now? Like in terms of the types of posts.
We said carousels, informational carousel, reels,
Patient journeys.
and patient journeys.
Yeah,
Yes.
patient journeys are really big. Just because, yeah, your before and after is cute, but that does nothing for me. At least like patient journey, I'm able to see like, okay, yeah, like they really needed Botox in this area, or yeah, like they
Like,
needed.
what is the reason why they got that?
And then you see it being done, and then you see the aftermath, and be like, oh, I actually was able to see that it does work. It sells it more than just a before and after, because it's so easy to fake before and afters, right?
Absolutely. Like with all the, like you see some of these accounts and you wonder like, is that real? Because I don't normally see that in real life, how those lips look, right? Like, is that like just with the swelling or like the actual end outcome?
Yep.
So like you guys know a ton, like you just have so much information and wealth and knowledge in this industry of marketing, especially in the aesthetic industry. Do you offer like trainings for other people that are, you know, in the marketing field? Because I actually know quite a few friends that like want to start their own like social media company, like on a smaller scale for like local small businesses. Do you do anything of that training sorts yet?
I think it's in the process. Like we're
Okay.
working on it. We're trying to work on creating little guides if you want to get started as just like a marketing agency. It's just hard. Like,
Yeah, I don't think we give like a lot of tips to other like marketing agency per se.
because it's weird. Because you're like, as much as you're like all about collaboration, you're also like, do I really want to teach you how to be me?
That's true. And it's interesting you say that because I'm starting to see a lot of that in the injection industry. You notice that? There's a lot of trainings. But then how much is too much training that you're giving away all your, trade secrets, right? Like that's also a little difficult.
It's hard. I think at the end of the day, like nobody can be you, but I feel like we've gone through the whole learning what works, what doesn't work. So it's like we know what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And I think there's certain things that like you just kind of have to figure out on your own.
Yeah. There's
It's just experience. It comes down to that. And it's huge because it's something you can't always explain.
Yeah.
So for you both, based on the experience you have now in life, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? Let's start with whoever wants to go first.
You go.
Justin.
I don't know what I would...
You got to tell your 18-year-old self something.
I guess you're going to be all right. Things will figure itself out. But I never actually had like any doubt or any fear that like I was not going to figure out, what I want to do with my life. Or I got the only child syndrome or whatever. So for me, I always felt like no matter what, like I'm going to be okay because I'm an only child. Like,
and your like parents are like super like
yeah. I mean, my mom especially.
Supportive.
So I just grew up. It's something that's in my head. I just feel like I'm going to be fine regardless. So
what about you, Harmony?
Invest. I'd be like, buy Apple.
Yeah, I would have said that.
Oh my God, I think I do have some Apple stocks actually. Like,
Might be
it's just
rich.
like, yeah, maybe. Who knows?
But like
Retire
honestly,
tomorrow.
I think I would tell myself just if I can't go back and be a nurse injector, I would just tell myself like honestly like you said, figure it out. I think I would feel more. I spent my money and I wasted so much money on like dumb shit that I'd be like, okay, you know what? Start investing, doing these other things. Yeah, I feel like that would have helped me out a lot.
Speaking of investing and like doing dumb shit, would you ever have you guys thought of an exit plan? Like if someone wanted to buy you guys tomorrow, be like, I want to take over Cosmetic Lane. You guys have grown this thing amazing. I'm gonna give you X amount of millions to buy it off you.
Actually, we briefly spoke about it recently, but I don't think that we have the answers yet because I think that we still we've been doing a lot of things, but technically the business has only been there for like 3 years. So we always just be like, okay, well, like
There's still so much to do.
like in 5 years, like we don't know what it's gonna look like, but we know that
true.
it's definitely possible, just the way things are going. But we're gonna have to figure out if we do want an exit plan or if we want to grow this thing out and stuff. But I think the goal is to have an exit plan, right?
Is it? I'm like, do I want to give up my baby? Like, I
I
don't
know it's hard, right? Because I think it's funny because I've like looked into that. It's called like mergers and acquisitions, and it's still very new to me. But like in business, you create something to sell, like a service, right? Or a product.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with a business. So, someday down the road, you're going to be, maybe tired of doing this, want to do something different, or you just want to travel and not work anymore, or maybe work on a more part-time scale as you've grown. And someone's going to come along with an amazing offer. You never know. And it's hard to like think about it because you identify so personally with it. It is like it is your child.
Yeah,
It's like a child that never grows up.
Yeah.
And so it's all on you. So it's hard because it becomes a part of your identity. So to separate that can be extremely difficult.
Have you thought about it?
Yeah.
You know what? We've actually been approached and we've thought about it deeply. And it's hard because I'm in a weird stage where it's like your husband's almost to the age of retirement. You've got a newborn that's like, well, a baby that's cooking in you. And then you're like, and then I want to be in the warm weather all the time.
Right.
But then you've got like, we just opened a 5th location here. Because I got mad and we decided to open another thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I do dumb shit. People get mad and they bake. I get mad and I open another location. So then you're like, okay, like, I don't really know where this is going because you're still growing it actively. And the med spa industry is at like, it's growing at a rapid pace. But because I'm not just a single injector and we have, I think it's like 12, 13 full-time injectors and I'm very proud of them all. They're amazing. But you also see the challenges and growth for newer injectors getting into the industry where someone who's established working on their own, they're like full-time, they're easy. They don't see the struggles of where things are going with the competition and inflation.
Yeah.
And like the economic changes that are happening right now that aren't positive. So for those, the top clients that are established and, you won't really see that as much. but I do see it from both sides.
Okay.
So I always think I'm like, you have to keep your options open and try to look at it completely separate. One thing you talked about was, friends in business. Do you ever find, well, I don't want to like gear this question specifically. How do you find working with your friends who are clients?
How did it happen? I think we only have friends. I think like the Holdens are friends now.
Yeah, but I think they were clients and then turned friends. I don't think we've started out with anybody that was a friend that turned into a client.
No, I think at this point we are actually trying to avoid that.
And why are you trying to avoid it, Justin?
I personally never had any positive outcome of working with friends. I think it works for a moment, and after that, like you don't have the same vision, and I have a totally different like way of seeing things, and we just like grow apart. And
yeah, it's hard. Like it's easy to have conflict for sure, right?
And like blurred boundaries, right? So I don't think I'd be comfortable with that.
I would rather have to deal with her all the time than having to.
You already got to deal with her. So like you want to deal with more? Like fuck. No, love you, Harmony. But it's so true, right? Like for me, like we see clients that aren't like, for you have contracts and you have like long-term relationships, maybe with less clients. For my clients, I see them, in 30 minutes. And like, so we have a lot more like volume, but we don't maybe deal with them in as much depth as you do. But it's hard because a lot of your clients become friends or you also make them feel that way as well. Like, I know that sounds like weird, but you have to develop that like professional relationship where they are loyal to you, but they also understand that like professional boundary. And it's really hard because you don't want to seem like this cold bitch. But at the end of the day, like if someone's met me as a client, like there's still that business relationship. Like I made a friend from a client and she was a hairdresser. Did I give her my personal cell? Not for 2 years. And she was doing my hair, like coming to my house, and like she didn't even have my personal cell because I was like terrified to give it out because of that boundary of like bothering me to book an appointment at midnight. I know that sounds like rude, but it got to that point just because we have like 10,000 active clients, and if I give my personal cell to everyone, then like that's going to be the lumps or the bumps, or the panic attacks at 1 a.m. that you get those Instagrams. So I had to control that. Also, like delegating and paying admin to help us during the day. So. But in terms of like friends and business, I think over the years, maybe through experience, I've become a little bit more I'm better at the boundaries. Yeah. Okay. And then like any friends that I have from before, to be honest, there's not many from before that have that have become clients. They kind of stay separate, I think.
Right.
Also, you lose a lot of friends in business because you just don't have the time to like hang out with them.
That's one thing that we noticed once we started traveling is it's been hard to keep up with our friends, but then also there's a lot of people that just don't seem to understand your lifestyle anymore.
Yeah.
It's true. So, like you go for a beer with your friend and you're talking and you're, you don't have anything to talk about besides TCL. And they're just like, okay, I don't care about your Instagram, like things.
I tell her that all the time. Is like sometimes when some of our friends have like still like good lives, but like our life is like, it's pretty lit, right? So when we have a conversation with them, it's just like, I don't even want to tell you too much because like, I just feel like it's going to be too overwhelming for you to grasp all this information.
Or your fucking Cadillac margarita. That's his drink he requested earlier. And I was like, I'm not that bougie yet. Yeah. We'll work on this podcast. Eventually we'll have our personal bartender.
But I think
it's true. Like,
or you feel like you're bragging. Like, we do all these things, and I remember there was somebody that had called it out and was like, oh, you guys aren't even actually working. But it's like, our industry is just fun. We have a lot of fun and go to these things, and like we enjoy ourselves. It may not look work to you because for you, work is sitting at your desk,
cubicle, and
or 9 to 5, and then your work's done.
Literally, and we're partying until 2:00 in the morning. To you,
with Julie Horn, I know, right? And Cardi B.
You're seeing us out, like maybe at a dinner or something, and we're drinking or we're doing shots, and you're thinking, oh my god, like they're not working, but like that's literally us working.
It's you developing rapport with your clients and understanding like what they want and everything. So it's all different angles, right? No, that's like really interesting to see that, that. Do you feel like there's jealousy with your friends?
I mean, you had like a full on.
I had a full out like situation. Like I don't even want to go like too deep about it, but I feel like it's.
We'll call him Tony. No, I'm kidding.
But I would say it's definitely coming from the people that like you grew up with, or the people that like seen you evolve over the years, and like at one point they don't recognize you anymore.
Yeah, like they only have one version of you, and they expect you to be that. And like now life is so different.
Life is so different for everybody, right? So the people that are not able to accept that you change and you evolve, these are the people that are going to be jealous or that are going to start acting weird. But we don't really worry about it, to be honest. I think we're in our own world, and like, it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely.
And like, I think it makes it easier because we are together. And like, like he has his moments, or I might have my moments, but it's like, okay, who cares? Like we at least have each other. So whatever.
Absolutely the same. Now, it's interesting, traveling a lot, seeing like high profile injectors all over the world and going to like the best cities ever and partying at like the most swankiest like bars, hotels, parties. And do you find like your tastes have gone up just from like the working perspective, like of lifestyle and how you live?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100% by default.
We're just like, you're introduced to more stuff, right? Like before, if you're traveling once a year and you're going to these places, you're not really taking in the things that you do now. Like there's like, how many trips did we do last year? We did like 14 maybe. Like you're around certain people, you're seeing different things. So I think it just opened you up to a different world.
Absolutely. Like I remember going to a training at a clinic in Oakville, and I was like, oh my God, this is like a museum. It's gorgeous. Like, I love it. I want my clinic to look like that. And like literally like 7 years later, came back to the exact same clinic and looked and was like, oh, it's just like a bare bones room. Like it's so basic. Like it's like your tastes go up in everything in every way. And it's hard because like I try to stay humble and like remember that. But then like even planning my wedding, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be like low key chill. But then you see all these beautiful events.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck it, I'm going to go all out. And you're like, oh, it's going to be small. But then it's like crazy, right? So yeah, be prepared. If you're getting into the aesthetic industry, your tastes will definitely go up.
Oh yeah,
it can be a little decadent. I'm not going to lie. But I do enjoy it.
Do you remember I was telling you I went to a music industry event where I guess it was some people from Canada, which is I guess a record label in Canada. They were having an event in LA, and then after that they had an open bar, and they were only serving like gin tonic, and they had another drink that I think it was like rum and coke, and I was just like,
doesn't text me. He's like, yo, I need to get the fuck out of here.
I was like, we're so spoiled because us, like, we go, it's open bar, we get all types of wine, all
like
types of
premium.
cocktails.
Yeah.
And Justin was like, what the fuck? He's like, get me the fuck out of here.
That's why you keep your own gin and tonic in the car, right? Oh my God, just for backup in case. Oh my God, I love it. But it's true. Like, you just, like, your tastes go up, and as long as you recognize that, it's all good. Because you're both are so humble. Like, you're not cocky at all.
No,
we're
not.
Really appreciate you for being here.
Of course.
We're going to wrap this up only because I have to get home to my kids. And I actually have no idea how long we've been talking for.
That's okay.
But for all of you, it is the Cosmetic Lane. You can follow them on Instagram at the Cosmetic Lane. Feel free to DM them and reach out for all of your marketing services or tips that you'd like. They're amazing people to just like shoot the shit with or just learn. And they have a million different services they can offer to help you better your aesthetic industry and business. Harmony, Justin, would you like to add anything about your services at all?
I mean, I'll let you lead.
She's like, no.
No. I mean, like, look, we can tailor. Don't be worried about what, like, obviously our page looks pretty cool, but don't be afraid to just reach out. Sometimes you could just reach out for a consultation. We can help you out in different aspects. You don't necessarily have to be worried about hiring us to come in to do content. There's plenty of other things that we offer.
Merchandise, we do neon signs, we do advertising on Twitter. Our Twitter monthly impressions is over 20 million. So if you would like to advertise on our page, feel free to reach out to us, and so many other things that we do as well. Strategy, content creation. So contact us, the Cosmetic Lane, worldwide.
Thank you, Harmony and Justin. Oh, and if you want to know their theme song, this is it. It's Blast.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I put it on here for you.
Perfect.
Love you
timing.
guys.
Thank you.